Snow and
the news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Tuesday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And boy, those winds last night were something else.
Yes, and the winds are going to carry on for much of the day today. So we are going to be consistently seeing winds and
a lot of snow, huh?
A lot of that snow, yeah. Let's take a look at what's going to be going on across the area. First off, we begin with a look at the Yorkville Battery live radar in a very narrow band I want to focus on. This is what we were talking about yesterday. With the winds being as strong as they are, this is pretty much as evident as you can be that there are extremely strong winds at play here. This very narrow, maybe a mile or two wide band is extending all the way out to Albany. Downtown Albany seeing this band continuing from a multi-lake setup here. Now, there are also a few other minor snow bands in the southern valleys and areas north, but I want to focus more on this one. If you are in southern Oneida County, in Augusta, Marshall, Deansboro, Paris Hill, obviously a culprit of some higher totals from these types of setups here. Richfield Junction and Sangerfield heading into southern Herkimer County, South Columbia, Columbia itself, West Winfield, and just south of Stark, you've got that snow band basically hugging Route 20. Now, the road conditions this morning, they aren't terrible, but they are snow covered. And so you want to budget some extra time heading outside today. In fact, you can see here some of the roadways right now have some slowdowns, especially on the thruway. If you're heading towards Syracuse, right now, there are a lot of slowdowns on that path. So still, this morning, wind chills very cold, not only with the budget extra time this morning, but make sure you grab those extra layers because, again, today's high is not warming up that much. And coming up in a few minutes, we're going to have the details on all that snowfall, not only for today, but for the next few days as this busy stretch of weather continues. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Tens of millions of people are being impacted by brutal winter weather as the massive winter storm marches on. Governor Hochul has expanded her state of emergency to include all of New York State. Take a look at the whiteout conditions near Buffalo. Wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour, also making for huge waves along Lake Erie, crashing over a seawall and pummeling a vehicle. While the winds are expected to subside, whiteout conditions are expected to continue today. Governor Hochul says to avoid unnecessary travel and follow the direction of local authorities. Now today, non-essential state employees who live in Madison, Jefferson, Lewis, and right here in Oneida counties are directed to work from home. And snow emergencies continue for the village of Whitesboro until December 31st. Cars parked on the village streets will be ticketed or towed. Same for New York Mills. Also, there's no unnecessary travel up in Madison County. A complete list of closures, cancellations, and snow emergencies can be found on our website, WKTV.com. While the snow moving in follows intense ice, then rain on Monday. Check this out right here. This is from the town of Norway. A plow rolled over on Elm Tree Road early Monday morning. The driver is expected to be okay. A Pennsylvania woman was rushed to Wynn Hospital.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Good morning, everybody, on this Tuesday. Today, we are still tracking some lake effect snow in some parts of the area, more significant than others. Either way, we'll have a look at what you can expect and a quick look at the forecast in a minute here. We begin with a live look at the current conditions, 18 degrees. However, we've got some strong winds. In fact, just updated there at 20 miles an hour west-northwest. That feels like temperature at 1 degree. So you're going to want to grab some extra layers heading outside today. And as I mentioned previously, budgeting some extra time driving to work. If you have to head out to work today, the roads, they're not terrible, but they are snow covered. There's a bit of a sandy type snow texture in the roads today, and you're going to want to avoid driving above your comfortable speed. There is a very narrow snow band pretty much encompassing much of Route 20 heading through Herkimer, Otsego, in parts of Schoharie County down there toward Albany. So that's where that snow is at heaviest. Of course, heading into Syracuse right now. Roadways clearly reflected here, especially out toward the Syracuse area. And then again, today, winds very strong. We'll have the details, of course, regarding all the latest snowfall potential for today through Thursday coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Power crews can power through getting the lights and heat back on for those who lost power across central New York yesterday morning. News Channel 2's Ben Kinney spoke with National Grid and learned about some warnings when it comes to ice storms and high winds.
Many Central New Yorkers spent their morning doing exactly what I was doing, scraping ice off their cars, following one of the biggest ice storms we've seen in several years here in Central New York. Up in Newport, the ice was coating everything from road signs to apples, causing trees to snap and power lines to fall. But National Grid was ready. They called in extra crews and extended work shifts. And as they clean up from the ice storm, they now have to focus on a second storm, this one bringing lake-effect snow and high winds. And they want you to be prepared as well.
First, if you see a downed line, stay away from it. It could be a cable line. It could be your cable TV, it could be a phone line. But you don't know if it's a power line, and you don't know if that power line still has electricity running through it. There's enough electricity in a power line to cause a potentially fatal injury.
If you see a tree on power lines, don't touch it.
Because while wood doesn't conduct electricity, water does. And if you have a wet tree limb that is wrapped up in a power line, that water, that ice is conducting electricity.
Paventi says one of the biggest risks to the electrical system is actually drivers.
So if the road conditions are lousy, stay home. If you have to be out on the streets, drive slowly, drive cautiously.
Ben Kinney, News Channel 2.
The time now is
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Lake effect snow is currently falling across parts of central New York right now. The first of several days of snow potential here in the Mohawk Valley. We take a look at downtown Utica, where we have more of a sandy type snow falling right now, which means that it's not producing a lot of accumulation, but it is coating the roads just enough to make them a bit slushy out there early today. So emphasizing it all morning, just budget some extra time heading out anywhere you need to go today if you have to go. I know some of you, regardless of whether the road conditions are bad or not, you still have to go to work, and I understand. So that's why I always want to say just drive cautiously, drive earlier than you usually plan on doing so. There's that band passing pretty much almost parallel, if not directly over Route 20 right now. In fact, that band is slowly shifting, or at least wobbling north and south. It's expected to remain generally in this vicinity, the heaviest snow for much of the day today. It will weaken, though, a little bit as we head into this afternoon before strengthening again tonight. In the meantime, though, between Utica and Syracuse, and especially Syracuse itself, where the snow band is directly hitting right now, you're going to have some difficulty traveling in that direction early today. So, again, plan accordingly if you have to drive in that vicinity. Winds remain still very strong early today. Wind gusts between 40 and 50 miles an hour in some spots. This takes place in the early afternoon. Still, the risk holds on the potential for outages before that wind will weaken overnight tonight into early Wednesday. So what we're seeing today is a multi-lake lake effect snow setup. Now, there is a Georgian Bay connection here, basically this little offshoot of Lake Huron. However, as we head into this afternoon, there's a cutoff in that transfer here, and it starts connecting to another multi-lake setup, this time involving Lake Superior and Lake Huron, producing a much stronger lake effect snow band that arrives overnight tonight into early Wednesday morning before widespread snow moves in Wednesday in the evening and overnight, and then yet again more lake effect snow on Thursday. So a very busy stretch here across the area. Again, there's that snow band today. It will weaken a little bit and then re-strengthen as it gets some energy and moisture from Superior and Huron here as that band shifts its way north. It continues north the Mohawk Valley throughout the morning tomorrow, and then we're going to see that widespread snow kick in just in time for any New Year's Eve festivities. Of course it does. So if you have any plans for any traveling for New Year's Eve, plan accordingly with that as well. In terms of snowfall, this is the snow expected today. This is from 6 a.m. this morning until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So this is a span of 24 hours. And largely speaking, much of the Mohawk Valley is the 4 to 7 to 7 to 12 inch range, with even more snow on the way tomorrow. Again, day by day, we'll of course provide updates on these maps as we continue, because as you can see here, still plenty of opportunity for snowfall, especially Thursday, even into Friday, early Saturday. We're just not kicking it just yet, Gary. So again, alert day today for those strong winds and potential for outages. For now, though, lake effect snow will be the common trend between now through the end of the week.
Quite an active week.
Yeah, very busy over here.
Eric, thanks. 50 years after Charlie McMahon once again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. And once again, there is a state of emergency in effect for all of New York State. And Eric, just how much of a range of snow are we talking here in the Mohawk Valley?
Over the span of a couple of days, Gary, I mean, I would not be shocked to see some of us seeing over a foot of snow by the end of this. But just right now, the range is mainly focused in Madison County and mainly the Route 20 corridor. Let's take a look right now at the current situation. There is that one incredibly narrow but strong lake effect snow band going directly through downtown Syracuse, extending pretty much almost identically to the route of Route 20 right now. So if you are heading in that direction, we're heading south to Route 20. If you have the opportunity to take a different route, both out toward the Albany area, I recommend taking the Thruway. Do not recommend taking Route 20 today with that strong, heavy snow. This snow band is expected to stay mainly south of the Mohawk Valley for much of the day today. In fact, we can see some of those spots there currently impacted by that snow. And again, it's heading toward the Route 20 corridor in Otsego County. So there is snow falling right now. It's that snow band is where the heaviest snow is falling, but not where the only snow is falling. So you can see here, we got some snow-covered roads this morning. Again, road conditions, especially as you head out towards Syracuse, are reduced rapidly. Some hills or the higher elevations, 8, 12, 12B, south of the valley, showing some reduced travel conditions. And on top of that, it's cold this morning, wind chills near zero. So a lot of things to talk about. We're going to dive more into that snowfall forecast today coming up in just a couple of minutes. Gary.
Eric, thanks. High wind warnings, winter storm warnings, wind advisories, and winter weather advisories all are coming with a lot of lake effect snow. Many counties have already issued travel advisories. And as you can see on the bottom of your screen, a lot of closures and snow emergencies. In fact, many were called in last night. Gusty winds combined with incoming snow are forecasted to create extreme whiteout conditions, reduced visibility, and hazardous travel conditions, particularly on major roadways and open areas. Hell to pay. That is what President Trump says will happen if Hamas does not.
Welcome back, everybody, to News Channel 2 at sunrise on this Tuesday morning. Our photo today will bring us to the town of Newport, and a great shot here of the ice we saw yesterday. And I was hoping we'd get a great shot here, and sure enough, you guys don't disappoint. This is sent in by Maureen of Crystal Trees. Now, when I drove into work yesterday morning, Obviously, things are still very icy, even in the Utica area. And I wish I was still driving, couldn't take a picture there, but the trees I saw looked almost like artificial, just like this year, with the amount of ice on them, which of course melted when I left work. But still, with all the ice you saw in the Newport area, of course, as you head up more into Hamilton County, still a lot of outages. So hopefully the winds today don't make a huge concern for that. Shout out to those of you watching from Newport this morning, and your photo of the day every morning brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. So today, as I mentioned, we are tracking some of that lake effect snow, a very narrow band passing through the Route 20 area. We'll dive into that in a lot more detail coming up in a few minutes. Gary.
Eric, thanks. We are not the only ones.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Time now is 5:50, going on 5:51, and so far, again, roadways this morning snow covered. Largely depends on where you're heading on the road conditions today. Let's take a look out in downtown Utica. Regardless of location, roads generally look like this at minimum. Slightly snow covered to, in some spots, completely snow covered. Mainly due to the temperature, which has fallen quickly down into the teens, wind chills near zero. Now, the Yorkville Battery Live Radar shows several snow bands this morning, but more importantly is this notable heavier snow band encompassing much of Route 20 and extending into downtown Syracuse and beyond. This is where the trickiest travel situations are currently taking place. You see the last 6 or so hours, that band has wobbled north or south a little bit, but generally has situated in the Route 20 corridor. Road conditions this morning because of that, as you can see here, Route 8, we got some slowdowns, especially south of Chadwick's in Paris. Actually, looks like Route 12 a little bit better here, but you had 12B, some slowdowns. But as you head out towards Syracuse, you got slowdowns on the thruway and some massive slowdowns around the city of Syracuse itself. So that's the latest road conditions this morning. We are also closely monitoring winds, which still are very strong at this hour, expected to strengthen with wind gusts as high as 40 to 50 miles an hour this afternoon. So with the outage concerns, the ice that were on the trees in those higher elevations north and east of Utica, that concern still stands. Well, still, there are plenty of outages, especially in Hamilton County this morning. Those outages is something that we're, again, closely monitoring throughout the day. The winds will slowly weaken as we head into the evening and overnight. So today we have a multi-lake lake effect snow setup here involving the Georgian Bay here, the offshoot of Lake Huron. But what happens this afternoon is that flow from both the Bay and Lake Ontario gets cut off, and there's a transfer. We start to get more of that multi-lake connection from Lake Superior and Lake Huron. So even a stronger lake effect setup is expected tonight as that snow band sweeps north into the Mohawk Valley and eventually produces widespread snow tomorrow night, just in time for any New Year's Eve festivities. And then, of course, more lake effect snow as we head into Thursday. So, recapping this here in our Skycast, there's that snowfall south, mainly south of the Mohawk Valley today. It weakens and re-strengthens tonight in full force. So if you're heading out overnight any point today, I do recommend against it. If you do have to drive, drive extremely carefully because that snow is going to be very intense in the Mohawk Valley. That snow shifts north by the noontime hours Wednesday. Widespread snow, even a snow squall possible in the late hours Wednesday before drying up with more lake effect on Thursday. But again, when it comes to snowfall accumulations, generally speaking, this is what we are expecting: 4 to 7 inches in the dark blue area, 7 to 12 in the red zone, and even more snow is expected as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. Again, recap. This is Tuesday, 6 a.m. Today to Wednesday at 6 a.m. And this is 6 a.m. Wednesday to 6 a.m. Thursday. More snow on the way for Thursday as well as Friday with some things quieting down as we head into the weekend. We'll be right back.
The news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Tuesday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And I know a lot of you folks out there heard what I heard last night. Those winds were something else.
Yeah, winds were howling, and we got more wind today. They're not ending just yet. And on top of that, some lake effect snow, Gary. Let's take a look at the current conditions outside right now. A first view of the radar, and as you can see here, we have a very notable lake effect snow band impacting downtown Syracuse, extending pretty much identically to the path of Route 20. In fact, just passed over the road and now heading south. If you have to travel on Route 20 today, I highly avoid against it, as that snow band probably dumped a couple of inches in the span of the last hour or so on the roadways, especially in some of those hills in Otsego and Herkimer County. Well, if we zoom in here, I want to focus on some of the areas that are seeing the highest impact. Just past south of Deansboro, now impacting Sangerfield, south of Augusta and Stockbridge, south of Knoxboro Road, and now again it has passed south of Route 20, impacting Richfield Springs, beyond Lake Street, where you head down Route 167, and of course heading out toward some other spots in Otsego County. A live look at downtown Utica. This is a shot of what much of the main roads look like. They are getting plowed right now. They are treated. There's still some slush on the roads, and there's still about a layer of snow, fluffy snow, or at least I would say more closer to sandy snow on much of those side roads and less traveled roads early today. So you can see here we got some slowdowns as expected. Route 20's got some slowdowns there, and especially as you head out towards Syracuse, major slowdowns over there right now. Wind chill currently below zero, so on top of that snowfall right now, it's very cold. So bundle up and, of course, budget some extra time heading out to work today. We'll have the details on the amount of snow we'll be seeing, not only for today, but for the next few days coming up shortly. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Tens of millions of Americans are being impacted by brutal winter weather. As the massive winter storm marches on, Governor Hochul has expanded her state of emergency to include all of New York State. Take a look at some whiteout conditions near Buffalo. The winds are expected to subside today, though whiteout conditions are expected to continue. Governor Hochul says to avoid unnecessary travel and follow the direction of local authorities. Today, non-essential state employees who live in Madison, Jefferson, Lewis, and Oneida counties are directed to work from home. And snow emergencies continue for the village of Whitesboro until December 31st. Cars parked on village streets will be ticketed or towed. The same goes for New York Mills. And there's also no unnecessary travel up in Madison County. A complete list of closures, cancellations, and snow emergencies can be found on our website, WKTV.com. Well, the snow moving in follows intense ice, then rain on Monday. This picture from the town of Norway, a plow rolled over on Elm Tree Road early Monday morning. The driver is expected to be okay. And a Pennsylvania woman was rushed to Wynn Hospital in Utica after...
Welcome back to Sunrise. Time now is 6:10, and this morning we have some lake effect snow to look out for. In fact, we'll have a detailed look at it here in your forecast in a minute. First off, current temperature 16, west-northwest wind of 21 miles an hour. Very strong winds this morning, so that feels like temperature at -1. Grab those extra layers, bundle up if you are heading out to work early today. On top of that, the roads are relatively snow-covered, a light layer of sandy-type snow. Regardless of timing this morning, you're going to want to budget some extra time heading out to work. So plan accordingly and drive slower on your morning commutes. The more notable band we're tracking right now is going from Syracuse all the way through to the capital region in Albany, extending through the Route 20 corridor right now. And Because of that, we have some slowdowns on our traffic trackers. You can see here yellows and oranges, especially as we head down into Syracuse with a lot of slowdowns in the city limits there. But Route 8, there's some slowdowns here. Route 12, 12B, heading to Route 51. Again, mainly those less traveled roads, but more importantly, much of the roads here early today, especially extending from Utica to Syracuse, generally snow covered. Winds remain strong today. We'll have a detailed look at the wind gusts as well as, of course, the all-important snowfall forecast for the next few days coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Power crews continue to power through, trying to get the lights and heat back on for those who lost power across central New York yesterday morning during the ice storm. News Channel 2's Ben Kinney spoke with National Grid and learned about some warnings when it comes to ice storms and high winds.
Many central New Yorkers spent their morning doing exactly what I was doing, scraping ice off their cars, following one of the biggest ice storms we've seen in several years here in central New York. Up in Newport, the ice was coating everything from road signs to apples, causing trees to snap and power lines to fall. But National Grid was ready. They called in extra crews and extended work shifts. And as they clean up from the ice storm, they now have to focus on a second storm, this one bringing lake-effect snow and high winds. And they want you to be prepared as well.
First, if you see a downed line, stay away from it. It could be a cable line. It could be your cable TV, could be a phone line, but you don't know if it's a power line, and you don't know if that power line still has electricity running through it. There's enough electricity in a power line to cause a potentially fatal injury.
If you see a tree on power lines, don't touch it.
Because while wood doesn't conduct electricity, water does. And if you have a wet tree limb that is wrapped up in a power line, that water, that ice is conducting electricity.
Paventi says one of the biggest risks to the electrical system is actually drivers.
So if the road conditions are lousy, stay home. If you have to be out on the streets, drive slowly, drive cautiously.
Ben Kinney, News Channel 2.
The time now is 6:14.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Today we're tracking lake effect snow with a lot to cover, so let's dive right into it. We take a live look outside in downtown Utica. Snow is falling pretty steadily right now. Earlier this morning it was more of a sandy type texture, and so far it's a similar case right now. Snow-covered roads this morning. Just budget some extra time heading to work. You should be okay, except for some of you that would be driving in some of these thicker snow bands, especially one that extends from Syracuse all the way through Route 20, just north of Cooperstown there. But with that snow falling right now in Utica, there's another band we're focusing on right here. It might not even be as visible right now. It's falling underneath some of the radar scans, but it's actually hitting Little Falls, maybe sections just north of Mohawk and Ilion, and then heading through Utica right now for extending more north and west. So that's what we're seeing right now, and because of that, here's a look at the roadways. You can kind of identify what roads: Route 8, 12, 12B, Route 5, 5S. The thruway, generally speaking, a few slowdowns here and there, but of course as you head out to Syracuse, a lot more in terms of slowdowns, just as a heads up if you're heading in that direction early today. So, one of the things you're mentioning, which is why it's an alert day today, is the strong winds at play here for much of the morning and afternoon, especially this afternoon. Wind gusts between 40 and 50 miles an hour, along with the wind, or along with the snow. So that's what we're tracking today. And in fact, what we're tracking this evening is a bit less in terms of snowfall. But let me explain. So right now we are seeing a multi-lake setup from the Georgian Bay, the offshoot of Lake Huron, and Lake Ontario. As we head into this evening, there's a transfer taking place. We're going to start to see more of a Lake Superior, Huron, and Ontario connection, 3 lakes versus 1.5, which is going to rapidly intensify the snow band pushing south and then shifting north into the Mohawk Valley tonight, which is where much of that snow is expected to fall. Then, of course, we'll see widespread snow Wednesday. In fact, I'll just explain it right here. So there's that snow band early today. It shifts north a little bit and weakens. And then here comes that stronger snow band. Once that multi-lake connection is set in stone, then that'll sweep its way into the Utica-Rome area for much of the early morning hours Wednesday. Expect very tricky travel early tomorrow. That snow band continues north. It weakens a little bit. We're going to see widespread snow heading into Wednesday night, of course, just in time for any New Year's Eve festivities. The snow will exit, cooling down quickly, and then Thursday, some more lake effect snow begins to arrive. So, in terms of accumulations, this is the map for today, 6 a.m., through tomorrow, 6 a.m. And again, that band really intensifies over the Mohawk Valley overnight tonight into early tomorrow, when much of that snow will be falling. And then as we head into tomorrow, there's even more snow expected from 6 a.m. Wednesday to 6 a.m. Thursday, with widespread snow and additional lake effect on the back side of it. So still a very busy stretch. There's even more snow on the way Thursday and Friday. We'll, of course, cross that bridge when we get to it, because at least for now, we're just taking it day by day. Daily impacts and what you can expect. And at least for today, expect some strong winds, some lake effect snow, and some much more intense snow taking place tonight and early tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
take it easy today, boy.
yes, drive carefully. Stressing it, can't stress it enough. Take some extra time heading to work today.
If you don't have to go out,
Yes.
stay home. Eric, thanks. Well, 50 years once again, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. Yesterday it was ice. Today it's definitely snow. And Eric, just how much snow are we talking across the region?
Right now, we got some light snow in the Utica-Rome area, but more importantly to our south, a much more notable snow band. Let's take a look at it right here on the Yorkville Battery Live radar. A couple of spots here to mention. For one, it's falling underneath the radar scans. We can kind of see those very minor snow bands heading through the thruway corridor heading into Utica right now. But you head south right here, we have some heavy snow falling in the Route 20 corridor. It has fallen a little bit farther south in the last, say, 15-20 minutes. But either way, it is slamming downtown Syracuse right now, just past the border into Sangerfield, and of course near Madison. Route 26, Route 20 connection between 12 and 315. Heading to the east near Richfield Springs, Springfield. All those spots along Route 20 you head just south, you're going to hit that very intense snow band. Right now, a live view of downtown Utica. This is how much the roads are shaping up right now. We have snow-covered roads, mainly a sandy type snow texture early today. And just overall, you're going to want to budget some extra time driving to work. Because look at this, we've got a lot of slowdowns here across the area, especially as you head out towards Syracuse. If you're heading west early today, that might be an issue for you. Of course, as you head down to Route 20, down this section here, we got some slowdowns as well. And then finally, along with this very busy start to the day, it's cold. Wind chills below zero, so grab those extra layers heading out. We're going to dive into that snowfall forecast, not only for today, but for this multi-day setup here, extending through Thursday, coming up in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. High wind warnings, winter storm warnings, wind advisories, and winter weather advisories all are coming with a lot of lake effect snow across the state, and many counties have already issued travel advisories. In fact, many were called in last night. You can see the gusty winds causing some issues over there along the lake in Buffalo, and particularly issues on major roadways and open areas are expected today. Well, hell to pay. That's what President Trump says will happen if Hamas does not
Welcome back to Sunrise this morning. Our photo of the day today brings us to a spot here locally that Saw a lot of ice yesterday. This is the town of Newport here, and a scene of crystal trees sent in by Maureen, and an amazing shot right here of the incredible power and beauty of ice, which can also be damaging. And a reminder that today, some of you that saw this type of ice that didn't quite melt a whole lot yesterday are at risk of outages with the strong winds expected for much of this morning and for the early part of this afternoon. So again, we are in alert mode right now for that, but regardless, sometimes it is great to kind of just take a step back and look at the beauty of wintertime here in central New York. So amazing photo, Maureen, and a photo of the day every morning brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. So today, the main stories, the strong winds and the lake effect snow. A live look at the radar at 6:43 this morning. We have a look at the details in terms of snowfall accumulations and what to expect for the next few days coming up in a couple of minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Well, we are not the only ones getting wintry snow and ice, but hurricane-force winds in some spots. NBC's Shaquille Brewster has more.
A dangerous mix of winter weather tonight causing chaos. On Detroit's I-75, a pileup leaving behind this trail of mangled vehicles. State police say more than 59 cars were involved, partially shutting down the highway.
There are multiple vehicles involved.
And this fiery scene in western Michigan. The county sheriff says this semi crashed off an overpass into the road below. The driver was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Heavy snow and wind blanketing the Midwest.
Zero visibility.
At least one person was killed in Iowa. This video shows a state trooper at a 14-car crash. The vehicles directly in front of him are barely visible. Minnesota's governor declaring a snow emergency and authorizing the National Guard to assist crews rescuing stranded motorists. Relentless wind threatening millions. More than 300,000 at one point without power today, from Texas to Ohio and Michigan. Gusts topping 70 miles an hour in Buffalo. Along Lake Erie, this car swallowed by waves. It's the same system that spawned tornadoes across Illinois.
Look at the house. Look at the house.
Ripping roofs off homes, scattering debris across residential neighborhoods. While the high winds and low visibility brought temporary ground stops and more delays to airports.
We should have left a lot earlier.
The travel rush for some turning into a crawl.
There's so many people, the lines are kind of long.
A powerful weather system bringing a brutal end to the year.
NBC's Shaquille Brewster.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Time now 6:48, and currently snowing across the area. A live look at downtown Utica, where we have some of that snow falling in the city itself. You can see here roads a bit slushy, and a reminder, if you don't have to drive anywhere this morning, I just recommend against it. If you have to drive today, drive slowly and make sure that you take roads more traveled. Obviously, there will be some side roads and on-ramps and whatnot that might have some snow on them. So again, just drive extremely carefully. And again, you can never guarantee that you can stay home. A lot of you are essential workers. You have to go to work regardless. Just, again, budget some extra time so you can get there at least on time, maybe just slightly late, rather than being stuck somewhere. Either way, we look at the radar. We have a snow band passing through Utica, the Mohawk Valley right now, a stronger snow band impacting Route 20, mainly in Madison County right now. That's where the thick of that snow is currently taking place. And a lot of slowdowns. Here's a look at the traffic tracker right now. Lots of yellows. The Thruway got some slowdowns, as well as heading south on Route 8, Route 5, 5S, and heading towards Syracuse, which is even much, much worse. That snow band is directly hitting the city right now. But either way, you can see here a lot of slowdowns. Just recommend against traveling for the early half of the day. On top of that, we're also looking at some strong winds. Between 40 and 50 mile per hour wind gusts. There's potential for more outages today, especially for those of you that didn't see a whole lot of melting from ice yesterday. So mainly north and east of Utica. The winds will weaken progressively throughout the day today, in fact, mainly through the overnight hours. But again, this afternoon is where the strongest winds are expected. So today we're seeing a bit of a complex setup here of a multi-lake lake effect snow system. The Georgian Bay here, which is an offshoot of Lake Huron, is supplying us that multi-lake setup. But as we head into this afternoon, the snow will weaken a little bit by 4 to 6 p.m. as we get the energy transfer shifts to Lake Superior, Huron, and Ontario. So instead of 1.5 Great Lakes, we're going to see 3 Great Lake influences, and that is going to intensify that snow overnight tonight into early tomorrow. So on our Skycast today, there's that snow band mainly south. Again, it's a lot of very narrow other snow bands expected for much of the day today. As you can see here, that thick snow band really begins to strengthen overnight tonight through early Wednesday morning. So expect some very tricky travel early Wednesday. Then that snow band continues to shift north into the areas north of Utica before we're going to see widespread snow heading into Wednesday night into early Thursday morning, with even more lake effect snow on the way Thursday, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Snowfall today, pretty self-explanatory from 6 a.m. this morning to 6 a.m. Wednesday. You've got pretty much 4 to 7 in the dark blue, 7 to 12 in the red zone, and even more snow on the way tomorrow. So this is, again, a multi-day system. We're going to take it day by day, give you guys the latest information for every morning commute. And then, of course, following the first of the year, we've got even more snow on the way for Thursday afternoon. So quite busy both in the Weather Center, and again, a reminder, just drive very carefully and drive slowly this morning to get to work.
Yeah, bitter cold overnight all week long, too.
Yeah, bitter cold this morning, Gary. Those wind chills are near zero. Very chilly.
Stay inside. Eric, thanks. Continuing coverage now on those
News with Steve McMurray.
And a good Tuesday afternoon to you. I am Steve McMurray, in for Gary this noon.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And with everything going on, we are in the thick of it. I have half a mind to just let you take the hour and fill everybody what's going on, because it's a mixed bag of everything, and it's going to last for a little while as well. But do not blame the messenger. Remember, we had a very nice fall.
Yeah, very nice fall and a very warm and sunny summertime. This is the payback that Mother Nature gives us.
We knew it. We did know it.
Let's take a look at the current conditions outside. First off, a live look at the radar, and pretty much this has been the same story. We've been tracking several bands of snow across the area. Some of these more minor than others. They are still producing impacts, though. Don't let that fool you. But more importantly, there's that most notable band passing mainly along the Thruway corridor. It has slammed Syracuse so far this morning. It has shifted north a little bit, but either way, travel conditions between Utica and Syracuse aren't really that good right now. They have improved slightly, but at least going from a whiteout to heavy snow is, I guess, a slight improvement, if you want to call it that. Either way, that snow is falling mainly between Chittenango and Verona. Heading farther south, that heavier snow right along the border of Otsego and Herkimer counties between Minden and Cherry Valley, right north of Route 20. We zoom out, and I'll explain this in a little bit more detail in a few minutes. Basically, we're seeing a transfer of energy downwind of the Great Lakes. Instead of seeing some of this snow coming from here, we're seeing it more so coming from the northwest, which means more lakes, more powerful lake effect snow, which will take place again tonight. A live look from our tower cam right now is still snow is falling pretty good up here on the hill in Deerfield, and as you can see here, there are a lot of slowdowns, yellows and oranges here, and of course an exit along the thruway between Oneida and Syracuse. So again, this afternoon, regardless of the snowfall, it is still incredibly cold. Not so much the temperature, but the wind speeds have been relentless, topping in some spots as high as 50 miles an hour, even higher, but we'll dive into that shortly, as well as that snowfall forecast, all important snowfall forecast for the next few days coming up in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Eric, thanks. Tens of millions of people are being impacted by brutal winter weather as the massive winter storm marches on. Governor Hochul has expanded her state of emergency to include all of New York State. While the winds are expected to not be as bad as last night, whiteout conditions are expected to continue. Governor Hochul says to avoid unnecessary travel and follow the direction of local authorities. Today, non-essential state employees who live in Madison, Jefferson, Lewis, and Oneida counties have been directed to work from home. Snow emergencies continue for the village of Whitesboro until December 31st. Cars parked on village streets will be ticketed or towed. Same for New York Mills. There's no unnecessary travel in Madison County, and the state of emergency will go into, I should say the snow emergency will go into effect in the city of Utica tonight at 10, meaning you cannot park on the streets. Ilian's parking ban is also there. Vehicles owners will be towed at owner's expense. Now, a complete list of closures, cancellations, and snow emergencies can be found on our website. And even if your municipality is not currently in a snow emergency, it's still a good idea to get cars off the streets so that DPW and town highway crews can do the work they need to do. Speaking of which, Utica DPW plow drivers plan to be out all day. Commissioner Mark Sokolowski says it's important to keep cars off the road so that plows can fit down the streets and clear the snow. The DPW commissioner says he's in contact with the mayor and will continue to be as the weather event rolls on.
The plan is yesterday we met and we decided to do a snow emergency this morning for 10 o'clock tonight. We are out there today plowing till 3. We'll regroup and see what we need to do to keep the roads open between 3 and 11. Then we will be back tonight in full force to hopefully clean up the streets with no more snow.
When a snow emergency is in place, and it is, starting at 10 o'clock tonight, police will ticket cars parked on the street. Millions of Americans are wrapping up the year with this blast of winter weather. Heavy snow and high winds all across the Great Lakes have created hazardous conditions on the roads and slowed down air travel. NBC's Maggie Vespa has more from Chicago.
Hey there from Chicago, which got hit with this sudden brutal freeze. Temperatures plummeting roughly 40 degrees in 12 hours, while huge swaths of the Midwest and Northeast just got hammered with heavy snow. Parts of western New York getting close to 6 inches of snow, while here in the Midwest, really roads were an absolute mess. Near Detroit, we saw dozens of cars involved in a nasty pileup there. Parts of Michigan having whiteout conditions and wind gusts close to 70 miles per hour. Similar, at times, hurricane force winds also wreaking havoc on the East Coast, toppling trees, knocking over power lines. Hundreds of thousands of people just left in the dark. And in D.C., winds were so bad, planes were struggling to land on runways. Speaking of, more than 10,000 flights were delayed nationwide yesterday. All of this mess, of course, coming amid the final holiday travel rush of the year. Back to you.
And that was NBC's Maggie Vespa reporting from Chicago. Continuing coverage now on a mandatory water.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. We continue to track some lake effect snow across the area, and some spots heavier than others. On top of that, too, looking at some pretty strong winds. A look at those maximum wind gusts today, and some of these are pretty high. 56 miles an hour reported in Sherburne, 48 in Herkimer, 45 in Colebrook, and pretty much all above 40 miles an hour gusts going all the way to Westmoreland, based off of the New York State Mesonet weather station. So we have some pretty strong wind gusts at play here in the early afternoon. This is not only allowing those wind chills to fall to near zero, but also producing some very narrow lake effect snow bands. More importantly, this very narrow band extending between Syracuse and pretty much between Syracuse and Oneida right now between roughly Oneida and Verona, that section of the thruway right now. Of course, that's not the only snow taking place. Some heavier snow falling in Chenango County. That is sweeping its way north, and some other minor bands in the Mohawk Valley. Either way, there are a lot of still slowdowns Still some slowdowns along Route 20 where that intense band was between West Winfield and extending through much of Otsego County. And still that accident reported along the thruway near Syracuse. So the winds are pretty strong this afternoon, but this is about as strong as they're going to get. Tonight they begin to weaken. Despite that, we're going to be seeing some pretty intense snowfall in the Mohawk Valley overnight into early tomorrow. So while the winds generally subside for the most part, the snow definitely does not. And the reason for that, I touched upon it briefly earlier, was the fact that right now we're seeing a multi-lake connection between the Georgian Bay and offshoot of Lake Huron and Lake Ontario. But as we head throughout the day today, in fact in the evening and overnight, that transfer is going to shift to more of a multi-lake connection involving 3 Great Lakes: Lake Superior, Lake Huron, the actual lake, and Lake Ontario. This several lake connection will rapidly intensify the strength of the snow band, and it's going to sweep into the Mohawk Valley overnight tonight into early tomorrow, where much of our local snowfall is expected to accumulate. There's more widespread snow that moves in as we head into the overnight hours, Wednesday night into Thursday, and some additional lake effect Thursday into Friday, but those bands will likely be weaker as the overall larger scale setup here is not as prime. So there's that snow band. It shifts north and weakens a little bit this afternoon, but don't let that fool you because it'll strengthen again once it gets that multi-lake connection, rapidly intensifying over the Mohawk Valley with heavy snowfall into the early morning hours tomorrow. Expect some very tricky travel if you're heading anywhere early Wednesday morning. That snow band shifts north, and those of you in Camden, Boonville, northern Eddy County get your share of the snowfall in the early afternoon Wednesday before all of us see another round of some snowfall, maybe a squall or two in the evening hours and overnight. And that's not done with the snow just yet. We have more snow on the way Thursday. So if you couldn't tell, it's a very busy stretch of weather. So we're taking the snowfall maps day by day. The latest update this morning, I did shift the 7 to 12 inch range down a little bit, but no changes to the numbers right now. Still between 6 a.m. this morning and 6 a.m. tomorrow. Those in the red zone expect to see 7 to 12 inches of snow on the ground, with even more snow on the way tomorrow morning through Thursday morning. So again, quite a busy stretch here across the area. Still for now, due to the outages that are mainly focused up in Hamilton County. That was our concern. That's why we were in alert mode for today. But we're going to continue that alert mode right now just for the fact that there is still reduced visibility, sudden whiteouts, and again, some tricky travel in some spots. And that will continue, especially tonight. So at least for the time being, you know, just a heads up to make sure you're aware and avoid travel overnight tonight into early tomorrow if you don't have to.
Right, so you're looking at a good 24 hours of this type of wind and snow and whatnot. And folks obviously concerned about New Year's Eve. Looks like the celebration window 4 o'clock on is a little bit better certainly than what we're dealing with today.
Yeah, and then well, unfortunately though, as we head into the overnight hours, or at least once the sun sets and whatnot, there's some more snow on the way. So it might be very snowy New Year's Eve for any event. So we'll see how that pans out.
Keep an eye to the sky, as it were, and take your time.
That's right.
That's all we can do. All right, thanks a lot, Eric. Well, the New York State Health Department. Hey, good afternoon once again. Thank you for joining us this Tuesday afternoon. I'm Steve McMurray in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And as we said, we are in the middle of this stretched out storm, you know, lake effect snow warning for a lot of folks, and it's those longer duration events that, you know, folks get a little antsy about.
Yeah, and especially like, you know, where we are, I mean, you get like a snowstorm anywhere else in the country, a couple of hours, sure enough, it's gone. Right. Lake effect just lingers on and on and on.
and churning on and on, yep.
And that's the case right now. In fact, here's a live look at some throughway cameras here, and I want to focus more on between Utica and Syracuse, because that's where that snow band is really hitting, and it's basically wobbling east and west a little bit, so some spots will get slammed, and then other spots not at all. And you notice here, inside Syracuse, it's pretty quiet. Then you head a little bit more to the east toward Canastota, also looking more on the quieter side. You notice there's some snow out in the distance, which not really getting picked up here in Verona, but more so in Westmoreland. You can see some of those lines in the road there, the snow already accumulating there. So again, it's falling with maybe a mile of distance in between some of these as well. But at least the good news is right now the snow is not as intense as it was earlier, not nearly as much of a whiteout. So road conditions are improving slightly. However, there are still some snowy spots. There are still areas of reduced visibility. In fact, that very narrow band south of Utica, extending right north of Route 20. In fact, we zoom in right here. It's right north of Stockbridge along Route 26 through Paris Hill and right along the Otsego-Herkimer County line right there. So it's very narrow, less than a mile wide, and it's very intense. There are also a few other minor snow bands. Minor just being not as impactful. Still has some impact. As you can see here, some snow-covered roads in downtown Utica, some of those lighter bands. But either way, the winds are still gusting pretty high right now as we head throughout the afternoon. In fact, this evening, the winds will weaken a little bit, but we have more in terms of snowfall, more intense snow tonight. We'll dive into that coming up in a few minutes, plus an all-important New Year's Eve forecast straight ahead. Steve?
All right, thanks a lot, Eric. Utica DPW plow drivers plan to be out all day. DPW Commissioner Mark Sokolowski says it's important to keep cars off the road so plows can fit down streets and clear the snow. Commissioner says he is in contact with the mayor and will continue to be as the weather event rolls along. Red Cross is helping 7 people after a downed tree left them without power during Monday morning's ice storm. Happened on Route 5 in Schuyler. The tree damaged the electric service. Red Cross says all 7 are people being helped are adults. President Trump has deemed his...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are still tracking lake effect snow producing whiteout conditions in some spots, reduced visibility in others. Either way, tricky travel for some locations throughout much of the day today. In the meantime, still some pretty strong wind gusts. A recap of these strong winds: 56 miles an hour reported in Sherburne, 48 gusts in Herkimer, 45 in Colebrook, all the way down to 41 miles per hour in Westmoreland. Either way, there are some very strong winds across the area, and that is also guiding some very intense lake effect snow bands in parts of the region too. More importantly, this snow band right here south of Utica. This was dumping heavy snow in Syracuse earlier today. Sudden whiteouts, terrible roadways out to the west of us. And now it's shifting its way a little bit more north and east of Syracuse. It's not as intense, at least here in the valley near Oneida, but as you head farther south and east, north of Route 20, that's that strength is continuing on. There's also another band as you head up into the Sherburne area there from that more intense band that's expected to strengthen later on tonight. We'll dive into that here shortly. Still, though, it's not entirely perfect out there. Yes, there are some roads that are pretty clear. There are some snow-covered roads. Either way, there's a lot of wind. Snow drifts are a concern. And just overall, if you have to drive somewhere today, just drive slowly. So, strong winds continue this afternoon. They will be weakening as we head into tonight, and not so much a factor as we approach early tomorrow. Then, of course, it will continue to be on the breezy side, but again, Wednesday, not that intense. So the big story here today is that we saw a multi-lake connection from the Georgian Bay, the offshoot of Lake Huron, connecting with Lake Ontario, which can produce a pretty strong snowfall. But as we head into tonight, we are going to get more of a flow from a much larger body of water, Lake Superior and Lake Huron, combined with Lake Ontario, that will produce much more intense snowfall overnight tonight into early tomorrow. So that is where the brunt of the snow we'll be seeing from this event will be taking place, overnight tonight through early tomorrow morning. So we zoom into the skycast here. So we see that snowfall shifting its way north. It weakens a little bit this afternoon, but re-strengthens tonight. There's that snow band really starting to form in the Mohawk Valley. So between, I would say, roughly 10 o'clock tonight and 7 to 8 a.m. tomorrow, that's when most of that snow will be falling in the Utica-Rome area. Then it shifts north, Camden, Boonville, Old Forge. It's your time for some of that snowfall as it turns a bit more widespread. This is 5 p.m. Wednesday. This is when you guys might have some plans for any New Year's Eve festivities heading somewhere, and the widespread snow begins to start. There could be some sudden whiteouts here and there, but as we head into the overnight hours, much of that heavy snow will exit. We still will have winds and some lingering snow showers. Just drive carefully. Of course, as we head throughout the day tomorrow, we'll provide updates on the conditions heading into New Year's Eve itself. But as a reminder, latest trends, snowfall shifting slightly south a little bit. No changes to the amounts here. 7 to 12 inches expected in that red zone right there, with more snow expected between 6 a.m. tomorrow and 6 a.m. on Thursday. So still quite a busy stretch. We have more snow on the way Thursday, a weaker lake effect system. I wouldn't count it nearly as strong as tonight's. And then more additional snowfall on Friday before we start to see some conditions dry up a little bit heading into the weekend. So multi-day system here, keeping us on our toes, and of course keeping all you guys on your toes. Have to drive everywhere, appointments, events, family get-togethers, friend get-togethers. Difficult when there's a lot of whiteouts outside. So
it is challenging, so be careful. And if you don't have to go anywhere,
yes,
don't. Wait for those errands that can wait. And wait, it'll clear up Thursday. We should be in good shape. Friday, whatnot, because a lot of plow crews on there. I want to give a shout out to the plow crews out there. This is, a tough job anyway, but those heavy winds, especially up here on the hill, you plow it, it drifts back in.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes later.
It's a constant battle. So I want to give a shout out to the plow crews. And Chief of Police in Boonville, Dave Olney, put a Facebook post yesterday to all the dispatchers out there, the 911 dispatchers who are just constantly taking phone call after phone call, especially in weather like this. So again, our thanks go out to all of you, and keep up the good work.
Yes.
All right, thanks a lot, Eric. Check in with you again for the end of the show. Well, we're looking
News with Kristen Copeland.
Thanks for joining us. Our life is really like a snow globe for most of the week as a long-duration lake effect snow event continues, and on top of that wind, it's making for some visibility problems. Chief Meteorologist Bill Carvis is tracking from the Weather Center. Got to deal with what's on the ground and what's still in the air.
Don't forget that it's still very icy, too, from what we had yesterday on sidewalks and untreated surfaces. Yeah, we've got a lot going on tonight. The worst of this is happening today and tonight. So once we move through the next 24 hours, things do get a little bit better, but it is going to be a rough go. Snow-covered roads, the wind is blowing in some areas, making for very poor visibility. Our alert day continues through tonight. And again, traveling is going to be very tricky, especially in this particular band. With lake effect snow, you get these multiple bands, and that's what we're seeing today. But this one in particular is in southern Herkimer, southern Oneida County, extending into Madison County, just north of Syracuse. This has produced a foot of snow already in spots, and it's going to sit and linger and drip to the north over the next several hours. So this is going to be where most of the heaviest accumulation takes place. And again, 6 to 12 inches of additional snow tonight. That's not including anything that has happened so far last night and today. For areas like Rome, Utica, and down the Mohawk Valley. Eventually, this band of snow will lift to the north as we head into tomorrow morning, and things will get a break in the weather from this. Light snow, temperature of 20 degrees. It's frigid. It feels like 8. We'll be in the upper teens tonight. The snow continues. Again, we're tracking additional accumulation tomorrow, too. Look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. We do have a list of snow emergencies on WKTV.com and scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and that includes the city of Utica. You should not be on the road. News Channel 2's Julianne Fike went out to see how the city of Utica is dealing with all this snow.
It's a sight everyone here is used to by now. Snow and lots of it. The streets of Utica are covered and traffic is moving slowly. People are bundling up often today, keeping up with the task of clearing their driveway.
I have been out here for probably about 45 minutes. By the time I'm done, it'll probably be about an hour, and then I'll do round 2 and 3 later.
Shoveling is not the most fun in the universe to do, especially not having a snowblower.
Businesses, libraries, and sports all over the area closing and canceling activities because of the weather and urging people to stay at home. With the city of Utica declaring a snow emergency, all cars must be off of the side of the road by 10 p.m., so it makes it easier for the plows to get through. If your car is not off the road, you run the risk of getting ticketed and towed at your expense.
We just have to lift the wing and go around.
Utica DPW plow drivers have been out and will be out all night. The commissioner says he will be in contact with the mayor as the snow continues to fall.
We'll regroup and see what we need to do to keep the roads open between 3 and 11. Then we will be back tonight in full force to hopefully clean up the streets with no more snow.
The official first day of winter was just a few weeks ago, but these conditions feel anything but mild.
It is horrible. It's been a feat this winter between the heavy snow, the rains, the ice, and the snow again. It's been a battle, but we're getting through it. It's New York.
I hope this is just a brief instance and not something that's going to be a big problem. But if this is the case, then we're in for a pretty rough winter. If people can, make sure they shovel their roofs. And the amount of times that the roofs collapse because of the buildup of snow and people just forget about it.
Utica city officials say the snow emergency will remain in effect until further notice. In Utica, Julianne Fike, News Channel 2.
All right, Julianne, thank you. The snow is not slowing the preparations for the city of Utica.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good evening. We're going to stay in alert mode tonight. The heaviest and worst of the conditions are going to continue for about the next 12 hours or so, and we're going to be in the thick of this tonight. We are tracking some heavy lake effect snow. The wind is creating poor visibility. The roads are snow covered. It is pretty much your standard tough winter day of driving across the region. Let's break it down for you and show you what's happening. We have multiple bands of snow, but the one that's creating all of the problems, or at least the heaviest snow, is located right about here. You can see it's extending out towards Albany, actually moving just north of Troy, and this is where the heaviest snow is to be found in our area. We have other bands of snow too, so the snow is continuing to fall in many areas, but it's this narrow band that's producing whiteout conditions, and that's the one that's already produced close to a foot of snow today. What's going to happen is this band is going to remain stationary. It's going to very slowly drift north, but it's going to take pretty much the whole night to do so, which means this area along central Oneida County, including parts of the Mohawk Valley and southward, we'll be seeing heavy snowfall. Snowfall rates between 1 to 2 inches per hour, blowing, drifting snow, very tough conditions. As you go south, conditions improve tremendously in the southern half of our area. And to the north, yes, it is still snowing, but it's not quite as heavy as that band across parts of Oneida and southern Herkimer County. Snowfall so far today, again, measurements taken this afternoon, close to a foot in Oneida, Vernon Center, 11 inches, Waterville, 10.5 inches, Clinton, 10 inches, South Utica, 8.5 inches, Oriskany, 7 inches, and again, a lot more is going to be falling here heading into tonight. Still windy, wind gusts between about 25 to 35 miles an hour, and since we're dealing with this fluffy snow, it's going to have a huge impact on visibility. Snow and wind continue tonight. The impacts will become lesser tomorrow. I think we'll get a window of relatively quiet weather in the morning to early afternoon, and then widespread snow arrives heading into tomorrow evening as we head into the new year. We're tracking some snow. Lake effect snow continues. This snow machine is on full blast tonight, and the heaviest accumulation continues to fall in central and southern Oneida County. Again, the band lifts slightly north tonight. Pay attention to this, additional snow, additional 6 to 12 inches of snow, Rome, Utica, and parts of the Mohawk Valley. And the blue, an additional 3 to 6 inches. Again, that band will be drifting to the north here as we head into tomorrow. This is at 7 a.m., and watch the difference here. That snow does go to the north later in the day, and it produces about 6 to 12 inches of accumulation in northern Oneida County, and it goes again north of the Mohawk Valley, 3 to 6 inches from Rome to Speculator, Old Forge. There will be widespread snow later in the day, producing an additional 1 to 3 inches region-wide. So again, tomorrow the snow goes to the north. We'll get a break in the afternoon. Snow becomes widespread by evening time, and this will be around overnight. And then as we head into the new year, the snow is not done, but the worst of it is. It looks cold with snow showers here Thursday. Lake effect snow, breezy, 16 for the overnight low tomorrow. Snow continues, especially late in the day, high of 25. It's cold for New Year's Day, 15 degrees. Snow showers continue into Friday and early Saturday. we'll get a break as we head into the weekend, a much needed break for sure.
I mean, this has been an interesting snow event, and I think people expected what we're seeing now, they expected to wake up to this, but this is that long duration event.
And it's going to continue. It's not slowing down. A little bit of a break tomorrow morning.
All right, well, thank you. The clock is ticking down on 2025. Weather is gripping much of the country, not just here. The latest blast of winter is creating some serious travel troubles to end the year and start a new one. Maggie Vespa reports.
This morning, millions of Americans closing out 2025 with a brutal blast of winter weather, with heavy snow overnight hammering parts of the Midwest and Northeast, almost 6 inches falling in western New York.
There are multiple vehicles involved.
Across the Midwest, weather turning dangerous. In Detroit, this massive pileup on I-75 involving dozens of vehicles. In eastern Michigan, whiteout conditions causing this semi-truck to crash off an overpass and burst into flames. Blizzard-like conditions causing a slew of accidents across the state, wind gusts reaching 70 miles per hour.
Zero visibility.
While in Iowa, at least one person died following a 14-car crash. Out east, hurricane-force winds almost toppling a tree onto this cameraman in New York. Powerful winds impacting 50 million people in the Northeast, leaving hundreds of thousands in the dark. The severe weather impacting air travel, with planes struggling to land amid whipping winds in D.C. and more than 10,000 flights delayed nationwide Monday.
It's very busy right now at the airport. There's so many people, the lines are kind of long.
Even more delays expected today, throwing a wintry wrench into this year's final holiday travel surge.
That's Maggie Vespa reporting. And, you know, days like today, we don't want to stay away from the Weather Center for too long. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis watching the radar, tracking what's to come. You know, just looking at these visuals from the top of the newscast, it's changed dramatically.
Yeah, this band is producing some very heavy snow, and travel is going to become very tricky. I know we're used to this. I know we get a lot of snow in central New York, but it's one of those days where, one of those nights where you want to stay home. If you don't have any important errands to run, you want to sit this one out. This is what conditions look like across central New York. And again, the band of snow that's producing all of the problems is cutting right across the region. It is from Oneida to New Hartford, extending into southern Herkimer County. So there's a good chance if you're traveling around the Mohawk Valley, along the thruway, you're going to run into this at some point. And as we get past dark here, it's going to become that much harder to see. In fact, we've got parts of Route 12 that are closed near Paris because the lanes are blocked from a tractor trailer. And look at all the orange showing up here. This gives you a pretty good assessment of road conditions based on how traffic is moving. When it comes to a crawl, that means the snow is having a very high impact on travel. And again, it's affecting many, many areas here in central New York. So again, a good one to sit out. Here's the band. In fact, it's snowing so hard the bands are showing up in Albany, which is pretty unusual. So again, this band is going to pretty much remain stationary. It may try to drift north over the next couple of hours, but again, it's basically near Utica heading into tonight, and it's going to produce some very heavy snow. Additional 6 to 12 inches or more of accumulation here just tonight. That band of snow will lift to the north tomorrow, but we do have more snow in store as we head into the new year. I'm going to look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Still ahead here, rising flu activity. A look at the local numbers. Plus, and now we're going to kick it over to Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis, the man of the hour.
It's a busy one here. We're tracking lake effect snow, and the bands are very, very heavy across the southern half of Oneida County from Utica and Point South. That snow is coming down 1 to 2 inches per hour, and there's wind, which means there's whiteout conditions in spots. So be very careful if you're heading out. Better yet, stay home. This is one of those nights you're better off sitting out because this lake effect snow is going nowhere. It's going to continue to sit and dump some very heavy snow across the Mohawk Valley tonight. It does lift to the north, or is expected to lift to the north very slowly throughout tonight and into early tomorrow morning. We do get a temporary break in the snow for the first half of our Wednesday. It remains cold. Temperatures will be in the 20s, teens as we head into the new year. If you're taking the dog out for a walk tonight, if you're in one of the spots that's not getting dumped on with snow and it is safe to get out, temperatures will be cold. We'll be near 20 degrees. Tonight's featured dogs, Frazzle and Lula from Salisbury. If you want to be part of this, head to Skycast WKTV on Facebook. This is brought to you by Nissan. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. The United States has seen nearly 28,000 whooping.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good evening. We continue to stay in alert mode through tonight thanks to heavy lake effect snow. It is having a high impact on travel this evening, and if you don't have to go out, this is one worth sitting out. This is a live look in downtown Utica. The snow is coming down at 1 to 2 inches per hour, and with the wind, it is creating blowing and drifting snow, and in open areas, it is downright whiteout conditions. So again, this is one of those nights where it's going to be tough to travel, especially in and around the Mohawk Valley. If you're traveling south of, say, the Route 20 corridor, it's better. It's a lot easier to get around. But if you're trying to get anywhere around the Mohawk Valley, again, good luck. It's a pretty tough night out there. This band of heavy lake effect snow is expected to stay put for the most part. It will lift north. We're expecting a very slow change in the wind direction, so this band starts to lift into northern Oneida County overnight and into areas like southern Lewis County by tomorrow morning. And there will be a break in the snow before it returns by New Year's Eve night. Snowfall so far, again, a lot of places getting double digits. Clinton 10 inches, Vernon Center 11, Oneida 11.5 inches, and these measurements were taken about an hour ago, so it's continuing to pile up. Again, winds coming from the west between about 20 to 30 miles an hour. It's this very fluffy snow, so it moves around pretty easily. Heavy snow continues tonight, a high impact on travel. Tomorrow it gets better, especially in the afternoon. We do get a little bit of a break in the snowfall. As we look at our Skywatchers, some snowfall measurements to pass along. Clinton, another measurement at 6 inches. Mike and New Hartford, 9 inches. Barneveld, 8 inches. Gray, 2.5 inches. Less snowfall to the north. Old Forge, 1.5 inches. Jeff and Mohawk, 6 inches. 2.5 inches in Edmundston. Snow continues tonight. This area of low pressure is really far to the north, but it's producing a wind off of Lake Ontario, and that's all it takes. Again, that heavy snow continues overnight. This is additional snowfall starting at 7 p.m., lasting through tomorrow morning. And so an additional 6 to 12 inches for Rome, Utica, Camden, extending into areas like Little Falls. That band of snow pretty much holding steady here tonight. Temperatures will drop down into the teens. Tomorrow, that band lifts to the north, produces very heavy snow across the Tug Hill, 6 to 12 inches of accumulation here. For the rest of central New York, our snow returns later in the day. We're expecting a general 1 to 3 inches of accumulation in the evening time. So again, that snow goes to the north tomorrow. 1 o'clock, again, the Mohawk Valley, the southern valleys, in a little bit of a lull. So if you need to run some errands, maybe do some last-minute shopping, the weather looks pretty good. It's not until the evening after sunset where widespread snow arrives. This comes from low pressure to the west. And so heading out, if you're heading out New Year's Eve night, you'll be dealing with snow on the way out, along with on the way back. And as we head into the new year, it's cold. We're not completely done with snow, but it looks like the worst of it is. We will see additional accumulations Thursday, generally west of Utica. Lake effect snow tonight, breezy, low of 16. Travel continues to be very difficult overnight. It does improve tomorrow. Snow returns late in the day, 25. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. A cold start to 2026. 15 for the high, New Year's Day. Snow showers Friday, Saturday, highs near 20. Mostly cloudy Sunday, 20. Temperatures warm up a little bit heading into early next week. We'll be right back.
With Kristen Copeland.
The lake effect snow continues to blow, and we just got word from the Oneida County Sheriff's Office. Route 12 is closed between New Hartford and Waterville because of the low visibility. You know, this is a dicey time to be on the road, so our advice is don't be. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis is tracking and really watching the road conditions from all vantage points.
Yeah, you want to sit this one out if you have any flexibility. If the roads are treacherous. This is a live look in downtown Utica, and the visibility is poor. The snow is coming down 1 to 2 inches per hour, and this band is pretty much going to remain stationary throughout the course of tonight, producing some very, very heavy snow in the southern half of Oneida County and into Herkimer County. Our alert day continues. Again, it's a combination of heavy snow and wind creating very poor visibility. And the snow doesn't take much to blow around. It's that very fluffy lake effect snow. Already many places double-digit totals. This was measured this afternoon between about 4 to 4:30. Oneida 11.5 inches of snow. Clinton 10 inches. South Utica 8.5 inches. Oriskany 7 inches. And again, more to come as we head into tonight. The heaviest band is, again, cutting right across the thruway in Oneida County and into southern Herkimer County. This snow continues as we head into tonight, producing an additional 6 to 12 inches of accumulation. Again, this is through tomorrow morning. We do expect more snow tomorrow in the afternoon, but we do get a break tomorrow morning. The lake effect snow looks to lift to the north. So a little bit of good news there. 21 degrees, heavy snow being reported at Griffiths and Rome. Again, this is going to continue tonight. We do get a break early tomorrow before snow returns as we head into New Year's Eve night. We're going to look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. The city of Utica and other municipalities have called snow emergencies tonight. That means no unnecessary travel and don't park on the roads. News Channel 2's Julianne Fike reports from Utica.
It's a sight everyone here is used to by now. Snow and lots of it. The streets of Utica are covered and traffic is moving slowly. People are bundling up often today, keeping up with the task of clearing their driveway.
I have been out here for probably about 45 minutes. By the time I'm done, it'll probably be about an hour, and then I'll do round 2 and 3 later.
Shoveling is not the most fun in the universe to do, especially not having a snowblower.
Businesses, libraries, and sports all over the area closing and canceling activities because of the weather and urging people to stay at home. Utica DPW plow drivers have been out and will be out all night. The commissioner says he will be in contact with the mayor as the snow continues to fall.
We'll regroup and see what we need to do to keep the roads open between 3 and 11. Then we will be back tonight in full force to hopefully clean up the streets with no more snow.
With the city declaring a snow emergency, all cars must be off the road by 10 p.m. so plows can get through. If your car is not off the road, you run the risk of getting ticketed and towed at your own expense. The official first day of winter was just a few weeks ago, but these conditions feel anything but mild.
It is horrible. It's been a feat this winter between the heavy snow, the rains, the ice, and the snow again. It's been a battle, but we're getting through it. It's New York.
I hope this is just a brief instance and not something that's going to be a big problem. But if this is the case, then we're in for a pretty rough winter.
City officials say the snow emergency will remain in effect until further notice. In Utica, I'm Julianne Fike, News Channel 2.
The governor's office is touting this year's
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. Heavy snow continues to fall across parts of central New York. We're going to take a live look at downtown Utica. The roads are treacherous in spots. There's blowing, drifting, and poor visibility, if not whiteouts at times. And again, many snow-covered roadways across central New York. If you do have to head out, just be very, very careful. But again, it is recommended to sit this one out. The live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The heaviest lake effect snow is cutting right across a good portion of the thruway and into the Mohawk Valley. This is where we're finding snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour from Rome to Utica, extending down the Mohawk Valley to Little Falls. The snowfall does get lighter as you head east, but again, this is going to continue. This snowfall is not expected to change very much with consistent winds tonight, keeping the heaviest snow in and around the Mohawk Valley. The wind direction does change, lifting this band to the north late tonight into early tomorrow, and that's where some of the heaviest accumulation will take place throughout most of Wednesday. Wind gusts between 20 to 30 miles an hour is creating poor visibility, if not whiteouts at times, and travel continues to be highly impacted through tonight. Tomorrow we get a small break in the weather for many areas during the late morning and early afternoon. Widespread snow is expected to arrive in the evening time. That looks generally light, but it will impact your New Year's Eve plans if you're heading out in the evening. Clinton, 6 inches of snow. Micah, New Hartford, 9 inches. Barneville, 8 inches. 1.5 inches of snow in Old Forge. 6 inches of snow in Mohawk. 2.5 inches of snow in Edmonston. Winds are going to stay consistent tonight, keeping the lake effect snow around, but eventually the wind direction changes. Tonight, we're expecting an additional 6 to 12 inches of snow beginning 7 p.m. onward through Wednesday morning for areas like Utica, Rome, and Camden. Heading between the Thruway and Route 20, about 3 to 6 inches of snow, and then 1 to 3 inches towards Cooperstown. Again, that band of snow generally stays in place overnight. It should intensify a little bit here as we head into late this evening, but it remains generally in the same place. Tomorrow, the snow lifts to the north. It produces 6 to 12 inches of snow across northern Oneida County and into Lewis County. That's where the snow takes place in the morning and early afternoon. A widespread 1 to 3 inches of snow is expected later in the day as our next week weather maker arrives. So again, the snow lifts to the north. We'll get a break in the weather in the afternoon. So if you have to run errands across the Thruway and point south, it's a good time to do that. Snow arrives again by 5 p.m. And again, notice it is affecting all of central New York into the evening time. The snow comes to an end in time for the new year, at least a temporary end. Lake effect snow does lift back to the north late in the day, but it's not expected to produce as much accumulation on New Year's Day. Lake effect snow, breezy tonight, low of 16. Snow gives us a break tomorrow, but it returns in the evening, 25. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. It's a cold start to 2026, only 15 on New Year's Day. Snow showers Friday, Saturday. The weather looks okay to travel heading into the weekend. We're dry Sunday and then some light snow chances Monday. We warm up to 30 by Tuesday, the pick of the week.
Man, these roads are dicey, though. We just got word. So Herkimer County Emergency Services is asking us to avoid Route 28 between Mohawk and Richfield Springs. There are a number of cars off the road, including a tractor trailer. So again, this is Route 28 between Mohawk and Richfield Springs. Still ahead here on News Channel 2 at 6. See what players were named finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026. And next, heavy snow and high winds hit hard, causing travel chaos and power outages. And not just here. We go around America. You're watching News Channel 2 at 6 from the Holiday Lights Gallery. We are proud to serve Oneida. Videos of decorations posted at WKTV.com are in the running for a WKTV golf card.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. The lake effect snow continues to hit us hard. Right now, Route 12 is closed between New Hartford and Waterville because of the visibility. This is a dicey time to be on the roads with the snow and the wind. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis is tracking from the Weather Center. Bill, just the weather, the snow, it keeps piling on.
Yeah, we saw quite a bit of it this evening, and it seems to be the worst of it just a couple of hours ago. We are still tracking some lake effect snow, but let's take a look at what's happened so far today. Over a foot of snow. We have many places that picked up over a foot. Verona, 18 inches. Canastota, 17 inches. Marcy, 14.2. New Hartford, 12.5 inches. Officially 12 inches in the city of Utica. Westmoreland, 12 inches. Springfield, 8 inches. I do have some good news here. There's less snowfall now compared to earlier. The snowfall rates have dropped. It is still snowing, just not as hard and heavy as it was just a couple of hours ago. And I think this is going to be the way things go for tonight. So additional accumulations look to be just a couple more inches across central New York. So I think tomorrow morning, I don't think you're going to be doing a whole lot of plowing if you already took care of the snow before going to bed tonight. But again, we are still expecting at least a few more inches before this starts to wind down. 22 degrees, light snow. It's frigid outside. It feels like 6. Temperatures will be in the teens tonight with snow continuing. I've got to look at another round of snow here as we head into the new year. Look at the forecasts coming up. Nolan, back to you.
Bill, thank you. The city of Utica and other municipalities have called snow emergencies tonight. That means no unnecessary travel and don't park on the roads. News Channel 2's Julianne Fike reports from Utica.
It's a sight everyone here is used to by now. Snow and lots of it. The streets of Utica are covered and traffic is moving slowly. People are bundling up often today, keeping up with the task of clearing their driveway.
I have been out here for probably about 45 minutes. By the time I'm done, it'll probably be about an hour, and then I'll do round 2 and 3 later.
Shoveling is not the most fun in the universe to do, especially not having a snowblower.
Businesses, libraries, and sports all over the area closing and canceling activities because of the weather and urging people to stay at home. Utica DPW plow drivers have been out and will be out all night. The commissioner says he will be in contact with the mayor as the snow continues to fall.
We'll regroup and see what we need to do to keep the roads open between 3 and 11. Then we will be back tonight in full force to hopefully clean up the streets with no more snow.
With the city declaring a snow emergency, all cars must be off the road by 10 p.m. so plows can get through. If your car is not off the road, you run the risk of getting ticketed and towed at your own expense. The official first day of winter was just a few weeks ago, but these conditions feel anything but mild.
It is horrible. It's been a feat this winter between the heavy snow, the rains, the ice, and the snow again. It's been a battle, but we're getting through it. It's New York.
I hope this is just a brief instance and not something that's going to be a big problem. But if this is the case, then we're in for a pretty rough winter.
City officials say the snow emergency will remain in effect until further notice. In Utica, I'm Julianne Fike, News Channel 2.
The Ilion Police Department has...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
And then there were 3 cars in the parking lot, that is. Let's take a live look in downtown Utica. We are looking at actually better conditions compared to just a couple of hours ago. The roads are in better shape. The side roads are still snowy. We are still tracking lake effect snow, but there's been a little bit of a lull. Roads will remain snow covered overnight into tomorrow morning, and there will be some tricky spots for the morning commute. We've seen a little bit of a break up in the lake effect snow, but it is showing signs that it is returning. We're starting to see winds and line off of Lake Ontario, and this next band is starting to work in. This is parked, looks like it's going to park itself over the city of Utica again, although it's not quite as widespread or as heavy as what we were dealing with earlier. We still expect to see snowfall tonight. That band will slowly lift northward, and it'll set up across the North Country tomorrow. Travel impacts again tonight, snow, wind expected. The impacts become lesser as we head into the day tomorrow. In fact, I think the snow will come to an end for a lot of places tomorrow afternoon before returning in the evening, just in time for New Year's Eve festivities. The wind has been relentless. We've seen gusts between about 20 to 30 miles an hour, some gusts as high as 40 miles an hour. The winds will continue tonight, but they do become less tomorrow, or lesser compared to what we saw today. And it's a cold day tomorrow, wind chills in the teens, air temperatures in the mid-20s. And again, looking at widespread snow later in the day. So we continue to see lake effect tonight, low pressure to the north causing that. But we're watching our next weather system approaching from the west. It's a weak area of low pressure. It'll bring a return to some snow here late tomorrow. Overnight, a couple more inches expected. It won't be quite as heavy as what we dealt with this evening, with those narrow bands primarily focused across the Mohawk Valley. Again, overnight, that snow pretty much holds in and around Utica, and then it slowly drifts to the north. Tomorrow, it sets up across the North Country, northern Oneida County, Lewis County, 6 to 12 inches of snow from 7 a.m. Wednesday to 7 a.m. Thursday. The rest of the area will see 1 to 3 inches of snow, and that arrives late in the day. So again, this band goes to the north. We get a break in the snow in the afternoon, and then by evening, by 5 p.m., notice the snow breaks out again, and it becomes widespread. It fills in from the west as low pressure moves in. That will be with us here for tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. So if you're heading out any New Year's Eve celebrations, just keep that in mind. New Year's Day looks cold. Temperatures in the single digits in the morning. We only climb into the teens in the afternoon. There will be some lake effect snow, but I think that will be a lot later compared to what we dealt with today. Some of the heavier snow looks to fall west of Utica. Lake effect snow tonight, breezy, 16 for the overnight low. Tomorrow, snow returns late, so we do get a break in the late morning, early afternoon, and it returns before the day is done. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Snow showers Thursday, cold 15. Snow showers Friday, Saturday. Not seeing any big storms on the horizon here, but the snow is going to stick around. We are below freezing, well below freezing this week.
Oh, it's definitely going to be an adventure going down Smith Hill tonight.
Yes, it is. At least the plows are out, so hopefully it won't be too bad.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Coming up next, everyone, thank you for joining us. The lake effect snow continues to hit us hard. Right now, Route 12 is closed between New Hartford and Waterville. because of the visibility. With the snow and the wind combined, this is a dicey time to be out on the roads. Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis is tracking. Out there, it's building up like an Antarctica snow base.
I know, it's like a big snow globe. We're continuing to see some pretty heavy snow out there. Very localized, but it's impacting some parts of the Mohawk Valley, including the city of Utica. This is a look at snowfall totals today. Some places already picked up well over a foot. In fact, a lot of places. Westmoreland, 12 inches. New Hartford, 12.5 inches. Marcy, 14.2 inches. A foot and a half in Verona. Canastota, 17 inches. Springfield, 8 inches. Utica picking up 12 inches. Let you know how we stand on the season so far in just a bit. Bands of lake effect snow, they don't look impressive on the radar, but they're producing some locally heavy accumulation. One of them is right over the city. That's stretching into the Mohawk Valley, and that's generally where it stays tonight. I'm thinking a general 3 to 6 inches of additional snowfall, but I think that zone is going to be pretty narrow. Again, we will be talking about more snow tomorrow, too, coming in from the west. Current temperature 21 degrees. It's frigid out there. It feels like 6. Temperatures will be in the teens tonight. We do pick up more snow tomorrow, and this could impact your New Year's Eve plans as well. I've got to look at the forecast coming up. Nolan, back to you.
Bill, thank you. The city of Utica and other municipalities have called snow emergencies tonight. That means no unnecessary travel and don't park on the roads. News Channel 2's Julianne Fike reports from Utica.
It's a sight everyone here is used to by now. Snow and lots of it. The streets of Utica are covered and traffic is moving slowly. People are bundling up often today, keeping up with the task of clearing their driveway.
I have been out here for probably about 45 minutes. By the time I'm done, it'll probably be about an hour, and then I'll do round 2 and 3 later.
Shoveling is not the most fun in the universe to do, especially not having a snowblower.
Businesses, libraries, and sports all over the area closing and canceling activities because of the weather and urging people to stay at home. Utica DPW plow drivers have been out in Rubio all night. The commissioner says he will be in contact with the mayor as the snow continues to fall.
We'll regroup and see what we need to do to keep the roads open between 3 and 11. Then we will be back tonight in full force to hopefully clean up the streets with no more snow.
With the city declaring a snow emergency, all cars must be off the road by 10 p.m. so plows can get through. If your car is not off the road, you run the risk of getting ticketed and towed at your own expense. The official first day of winter was just a few weeks ago, but these conditions feel anything but mild.
It is horrible. It's been a feat this winter between the heavy snow, the rains, the ice, and the snow again. It's been a battle, but we're getting through it. It's New York.
I hope this is just a brief instance and not something that's going to be a big problem. But if this is the case, then we're in for a pretty rough winter.
City officials say the snow emergency will remain in effect until further notice. In Utica, I'm Julianne Fike, News Channel 2.
The Ilion Police Department has received.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good evening. Yes, that is the WKTV parking lot. We've got a small staff tonight, and we're getting you through this lake effect event. It continues to produce snowfall. It's a live look in downtown Utica. It's lightened up temporarily, but this band of snow is going to be parked very close to the city of Utica tonight. Road conditions are not great. It's going to stay like this here through the morning. Snow will cover the roads. Even the major roads are going to be pretty slick here for the next several hours. Lake effect snow continues to move in from the west. It weakened somewhat, kind of disorganized itself, but it's back. We're starting to see some of those bands regenerate. And again, most of these bands will be set up pretty close to the Mohawk Valley here heading into tonight. Travel impacts. A high tonight with snow and wind. By the way, we saw wind gusts today close to 50 miles an hour. 48 was the peak wind gust in Herkimer, the strongest one locally. Sherburne got up to 56 miles an hour. That's in Shenango County. Winds will become lighter tonight. The snow will become less. In fact, travel gets better tomorrow afternoon. We should see a break in the snow before it returns tomorrow evening. Again, the winds are becoming lighter across the region. Still gusty out there, but again, won't be quite as strong. Utica picked up 12 inches of snow today. That puts us to 59.1 inches and counting. As you can see, it's still snowing. That measurement was taken at 9 o'clock. So we're probably already over 60 inches on the season, 28.7 inches above average, believe it or not. Not quite the snowiest December on record, but definitely in the top 10. And again, we're still counting it as December is not over. Tomorrow, temperatures in the 20s, wind chills in the teens, so it will be a cold day. But again, we're continuing to track lake effect snow, all being driven by low pressure to our north. Tonight, we'll pick up another 3 to 6 inches of snow in that narrow band that will be set up right across the New York State Thruway in Oneida and Herkimer counties. And again, that snow pretty much stays in place overnight. Tomorrow, it lifts to the north and it produces 6 to 12 inches of accumulation across northern Oneida and Lewis County. Later in the day, widespread snow produces 1 to 3 inches region-wide, and that comes from an area of low pressure to the west. So this lake effect snow goes to the north. We'll get a window of generally dry weather in the Mohawk and Southern Valleys tomorrow afternoon. Snow arrives from the west 5 p.m. Again, it affects all of central New York, and it continues into the evening. There could be some locally heavier snow showers embedded here with some wind, and we'll have to watch that. It gets cold for the new year. Temperatures start out in the teens, and we stay in the teens for New Year's Day. Lake effect snow to the west. We'll still see some accumulation Thursday, but just less compared to what we're dealing with now. Lake effect snow, breezy tonight, low temperature of 16. Tomorrow, snow returns late. Temperatures climb into the mid-20s. Temperatures will be in the teens on New Year's Day. It's going to be a cold one. Lake effect snow showers continue into the weekend. And it stays cold. Temperatures will be in the 20s. Just be careful heading out tomorrow. It's been quite an evening here in central New York.
55-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's insane.
That's strong. Yeah, that was a hilltop in Sherburne. 48 in Herkimer. That's still pretty strong. And again, it's blowing the snow all over the place.
All right, Bill, thank you. Coming up